Ooh, hello, hyperspace. My name is Davontos, and it's time to get hyped because there's a whole bunch of changes that's coming to Overwatch, and we have a vast majority of the information. So, it's not only the Bastion changes everybody's talking about, but there's also changes with Mercy, and soon to come, changes with Roadhog and Winston. So let's get right into this. So let's start off with Bastion, the details on this new Bastion that we are going to get really soon. So, when he's in his robot form, he has that machine gun on his right hand. It used to hold 20 bullets. Now it holds 25 bullets, and as we covered in the last Bastion update, the fire spread is shortened by, I believe, 10%, 15%. He basically functions like the old Soldier 76. Now we know the Soldier 76 is very accurate at first, and then the hip spread starts to widen, and each bullet does 20 damage. With this new Bastion, he still has the same amount of bullets in his magazine as the current 76, but his bullets are slightly weaker. I would say it's like the old 76, when old 76 did like 17 damage per bullet, and now he does 20. I feel like new Bastion is going to be doing 17 damage per bullet. And also, the hip fire spread on his assault rifle has decreased, and it seems to be more accurate than Soldier 76, which means Bastion can now probably perform on the front lines if necessary, and he can easily pick off a Pharah, just like 76. So let's move on to Bastion's sentry gun. Now his sentry gun had a 25% decrease in accuracy, which means the bullets are going to spread, well, 25% more than they usually would. And it's basically as accurate as Reaper shotguns or D.Va shotguns when she's in her mech. Now you guys know when you're using Reaper or D.Va, the reticle is right in the middle and it's kind of a big circle. That's how big your reticle is going to be when you are sentry gun Bastion. But to make up for it, he takes less damage when he's in his sentry gun form, and his sentry gun has 300 bullets, so they increase it. They had an extra 100. You used to have 200, so now it increased to 300. So you have more bullets, you're less accurate, but you're more powerful. So it's a little interesting. And he also lost the headshot multiplier in sentry gun form. And finally, for his self-healing. His self-healing, as I said in the last video, has a little bar on the side that drains down when you're healing, just like D.Va's defense matrix. You can move while you're taking damage, well, you can move when you're healing yourself, even if you are taking damage. And he can also heal himself in sentry gun form, regardless if he's taking damage. And one thing that really changes his Bastion is how fast he can transform from sentry gun to robot and back. Now, you guys know when Bastion transforms, he's kind of like a sitting duck for like 2 seconds. They cut that time in half, so now he can easily pop into sentry gun form and easily pop back into robot form, which means he can get in position much faster, and he's more of that, you know, surprise, Bastion's here. He's kind of like one of those kind of characters. You never know where he's going to pop up because his sentry gun can just pop up ridiculously fast. And same thing, you know, when you're playing as Bastion and a Pharah targets you, 3 missiles take you out, and by the time you get hit by the second missile, you have to slowly transform back to robot form, and then the third missile hits you and you don't have time to escape. Because he's easy to pop in and out of both forms, the Pharah missiles aren't really as big as a threat as they used to be. So also with D.Va, I covered this in one of the last videos, D.Va's defense matrix is getting a buff, which means the instant any projectile hits her defense matrix, the projectile gets deleted. At the current D.Va, the projectile has to go kind of like within the defense matrix and has to travel a certain amount of distance before it gets deleted. With the new one, everything that touches her defense matrix will be deleted on the spot. Now, on to Mercy. I believe this Mercy change is coming alongside the Bastion change. So everybody knows when you have Mercy, you want to work on resurrecting your teammates to, well, keep the game going, and you want to save your res for that right moment. With the current Mercy, you fly in there, you resurrect, and then you're instantly just jumped. It feels like a suicide mission. With the new Mercy, when you resurrect somebody, or resurrect your team, whatever you're doing, she is temporarily invincible. Now you guys know when you are revived by a Mercy, you have like maybe a 2 or 3 second window when you're invulnerable to damage. Mercy herself is going to get the same thing as she's resurrecting and after she resurrects. Meaning that you can dive in there, resurrect, and then, quickly get behind somebody or quickly fly to cover before you're slaughtered by the enemy team because you're technically the only vulnerable person there. I'm not too sure when this is coming. I believe it's coming with the Bastion PTR update. But on to Roadhog and on to Winston. So let's start off with Roadhog. So after Roadhog 2.0, everybody was saying 2 things about Roadhog. 1, he is completely useless, his hook is trash and we can no longer use him anymore. Or 2, he is overpowered and he is killing everybody on my team. Me personally, I feel like it was closer to the second one. So they're going to make Roadhog 3.0. And how this works is they're going to change up his shotgun and change up how his hook functions. Not how his hook functions, kind of more like where you stop after you are hooked. Let's get into detail. So, with the current Roadhog, what most Roadhog players do is they hook you, they drag you close, they shoot you, and then they melee you for max damage. With this new Roadhog, you are going to stop a little out of melee range, which means he can still hook you, he can still shoot you, but if he does the melee right afterwards, it will not connect. He kind of has to, like, you know, lumber to you a little bit, and then get that melee hit in there, which means if you have a character who has a fast retreat like Pharah or Tracer, after the shot, if you survive it, you can actually escape before he does the melee. It also comes into play when somebody has a high defense like Mei or Zarya or D.Va. You know, after the shot, you can easily just cocoon yourself or barrier yourself with Zarya's bubble, and you won't take the melee range. You won't get hit by the melee attack because of the range. And with his shotgun, they're going to increase the shotgun's accuracy. Now, at the moment, Roadhog's shotgun has the same accuracy as Reaper's shotgun, and I believe D.Va's mech. It's really inaccurate. They're going to increase the accuracy, which means he is going to have the most accurate shotgun of all the Overwatch characters. Now, granted, he won't be sniping anybody with his shotgun, but because the hooked characters will stop a little further from him, it does kind of balance everything out, which means he should function exactly the same, except he can't do that little melee after his hook. And finally, Winston. This is huge. Now, I made a video quite a while back saying how Winston really needs a buff, and this is exactly what it is. Winston is getting a buff. It's not what I hoped for, but it's still a buff for Winston, and at this point, Winston can take anything to make him better. What they're going to do at Winston is they're going to shrink his head hitbox multiplier. Now, you guys know when you shoot somebody on the head, they get double damage, and Winston, being a gorilla and the posture that he's in as he's running, his head is always in the fight, which means he is a very easy target to take down. They're going to shrink his head hitbox, so you won't actually hit his head as easily. It's really weird, and I'm really interested in seeing how this is going to play out, because his head is so big. Anybody can land headshots on him, which is why he's constantly dying in the battlefield. I really wish they made his Tesla cannon stronger, but I'm kind of seeing how maybe this headshot thing would work. Kind of put some more interesting Winston gameplay. He's going to feel a little tankier because he's not dying as quick, well, because people aren't getting headshots as much. But I feel like that's not quite enough for our Winston. Now, back in the day, Winston's bubble actually used to have, what was it, 600? No, it used to have 1,000 health. His little bubble that he places down, he used to have 1,000 health, and then they recently nerfed it to have 600 health. I feel like they should actually increase it back to 1,000 health, because as I said in multiple videos in the past, you have a lot of characters who have high DPSs now, like 76, and now you're gonna get Roadhog, and D.Va with her, you know, increase in the shotgun pellets. Everybody has high DPS, so if you actually make Winston's bubble, well, stronger, it's going to be more reliable for Winston and anyone else who's in the bubble. So I feel like that's something they kind of should do with Winston, alongside, please, just making his Tesla cannon stronger. I feel like this headshot thing is a good road to take for Winston. You know, they're on the right path, but I don't feel like it's quite enough. I feel like Winston's still going to be a very squishy tank, if that makes sense. So that's basically about it with the Bastion update, and then the Roadhog and Winston updates coming in the near future. But there is one more thing I want to talk to you guys about, and that is the next Overwatch hero. Now, as you guys know, Overwatch has a habit of giving us something special every month. We got the Christmas thing in December, and then in January we got the... what would we get in January? New map? I think? Yeah, we got Oasis in January, and then here comes the end of January leading on to February, and we have the Chinese New Year. So people are saying, what are we going to get for March? It's almost confirmed that we're going to get a new hero in March, and it's probably going to be Doomfist, with all these hints we're getting at Doomfist. And if you guys don't know who Doomfist is, if you go to the map Numbani, there are posters everywhere of Doomfist alongside Lucio, but it gets really interesting. Now, every time Overwatch releases a cinematic short, let's say like Dragons, or the one with Sombra, I forgot what that was called, but every time they release a cinematic short, there are changes on the Overwatch game itself within the map. Now, if you actually remember from the short Dragons, when Hanzo shoots the bow and arrows, Genji dodges, the bow and arrows hit the floor, or they hit the little house from the distance, and if you actually go to Hanamura, you can actually see Hanzo's arrows on the stage. Basically, battle damage. Now, the interesting thing is, on the PTR, if you go to the map Numbani, the payload that's carrying Doomfist's gauntlet, that little container on the payload, it is smashed up, which means there's probably going to be a cinematic short featuring somebody in Numbani that does something to that payload and takes probably Doomfist Gauntlet. And seeing how Doomfist is everywhere on Numbani on the posters alongside Lucio, this new cinematic short will probably feature, you guessed it, Doomfist and Lucio. It's really interesting. So I don't know when Doomfist is coming out. Rumor is going around it's going to be on March. We can probably get him on April. We have no idea. We don't know if he's a good guy, if he's a bad guy. The only thing we know about Doomfist is it's a generational character. So let's say there was a Doom. If you actually look at Numbani, you can actually see posters of like 2 or 3 different Doomfists. There was, let's say, the successor, who was probably the good guy, and then let's say Demolition, who was the bad guy, and then you have this new current Doomfist who nobody knows who it is. So he's kind of like a, I don't know, he's kind of like a good guy, or the new Doomfist could be a bad guy. Seeing how that payload thing is all smashed up, I'm guessing it's a bad guy, unless this new good guy got really desperate and smashed up the payload, but I'm guessing that this new Doomfist is probably going to be a bad guy. And we also know that Doomfist is from African heritage, which means he's going to have some kind of accent, just like Sombra has an accent and Widowmaker has an accent. That's kind of like all we know about Doomfist. So, if you like this video, punch that like button with a mighty force. You can follow me up on Twitter at DavantosMan, and as always, I'll see all of you in the next video. Have a nice day!